It's about how this gallery managed to acquire a collection of 10,000 objects, and so this is some of the stories that reveal how those objects come into this place. It talks about donors. It talks about people who went to London to buy pictures in 1931. It talks about how artists have supported us, and it also talks about how curators have been involved with and how the collection reflects exhibitions. This is a work by the American sculptor George Siegel. It's called The Execution, which dates to 1967. I first saw this work when I was 17 years old, when it was included in an exhibition that the Vancouver Art Gallery had called New York 13. And at that time, it was the 60s. It was a time where American civil society was rife with racial violence and tensions and so on. And it really struck me that here's an example of an artwork trying to make a very important, social and cultural statement, rather than just being pretty and being put on the wall. And that really stuck with me. And fortunately, the Vancouver Art Gallery, thanks to the generosity of various members of the Diamond family, was able to purchase this work out of that exhibition. So this is a legacy of a show that occurred here in 1969. We decide how to buy, partially on basis on how much money we have. That certainly is a big factor. We also decide, we have discussions amongst ourselves as colleagues, and then the gallery has an acquisitions committee. So my favorite artist is Fred Smith, for the sake of argument. I can't go and buy a Fred Smith because I like Fred Smith. If we buy a Fred Smith, we buy a Fred Smith on the basis of I'm able to convince the acquisitions committee and my colleagues that this artist is worthwhile having in the collection and will make a contribution to the larger whole. Warhol produced this remarkable series based on the portrait of Mao Zedong on the Little Red Book, that all the Red Guard carried around and so on. And he produced paintings and this wonderful suite of prints, which was given to the gallery by the very important collector Ron Longstaff, who was also been a very important donor to this institution. I mean, because that's the other thing that's important about the show, is that museum collections, they grow because people donate works of art for the larger public good.